The Windy City, Chicago, Illinois. It is known for so many things, and for car enthusiasts in particular, the Klairmont Museum has been at the top of the must-see list for many years, especially since it opened to the public back in 2019. But now the time has come to close a chapter on one of the most eclectic, wide-ranging, and unusual automobile collections anywhere in the country. Hi everyone, I'm Scott Hoke along with Bill Stevens, and we welcome you to Larry's Legacy. We're at the Klairmont Museum Collection here in Chicago, and coming up, we'll be showcasing the very best of this 275 car lineup that is selling entirely at no reserve. And Bill, I know you've spent a lot of time here, and truly it's amazing. When you walk around the corner, you never know what you're going to see in the next room.
With all due respect to Captain Kangaroo, this is the treasure house. And I'll tell you, I have seen more people with their phones out taking pictures of all the vehicles in this building, and you can just feel the excitement in this building.
Absolutely. It is an amazing lineup. I want you to tell us about a couple of your favorite cars that we'll see today.
Yeah, this will really point out the variety that we're going to look at today. From 1920s to the 1950s. The first car I want to tell you about, 1926 Rickenbacker 8 Super Sport. Eddie Rickenbacker, well known, a World War I flying ace. Of course, he received the Medal of Honor. He was a race car driver and decided to build automobiles back in the 1920s. This may have been the finest car he built. Elegance and performance. 105 horsepower, and back in the 1920s, if you had 100 horsepower, you were a player. Elegance, mahogany bumpers, copper-plated trim, and this automobile truly is a very special car from that time period. Now, we go to the 1950s. The one-year-only 1954 Kaiser Darrin. Great story behind this car. Henry Kaiser just saw the Corvette debut in 1953, and he said, hey, let's build a sports car. He called in his designer, Howard Dutch Darrin, and came up with a blueprint that Henry Kaiser didn't like. However, Henry Kaiser's wife said, I love that car, let's build it. And so they did. But it only had 90 horsepower. The Corvette at that point had 155, so it didn't sell very well, and after 1 year, it had gone the way of all flesh. But we'll have one coming up today.
We will indeed. Thank you, Bill. Now, we want to bring in the third member of our team, Chicago's very own Chris Jacobs, who is standing by with a car that is no question the centerpiece of this entire collection. Chris?
Thanks a lot, Scott. Yeah, it is great to be here in Chicago, my hometown, and undoubtedly this is the star of the show, the Golden Sahara II. Now, this preview, I won't have enough time to tell you everything about this car, but I encourage you to do a deep dive on Google because the touches are unbelievable. Let's just talk about the paint for a minute. That translucent quality was achieved by grinding up fish scales into the paint, specifically sardines. Yeah, that all comes from the genius mind of George Barris, the original designer of this car, which of course is based on his 1953 Lincoln Capri that he was in an accident with. Then Jim Street took over this car in 1956 and took it to another extreme level, redesigning the interior, putting all sorts of technological advancement on it. But what stands out the most has to be these tires. Originally designed by Goodyear as a safety measure, it never went into production, but the concept was that these tires would glow when the car was going to be braking, when the car was going to be turning, in an effort to let other cars see the car under bad weather conditions. However, it was the aesthetic that was the attraction of these tires. Well, the genius of Jim Street is on full display, and unbelievably, this car is going to be going home with a new owner because it is selling at no reserve here in Chicago. Larry's Legacy, indeed, this is the centerpiece.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Okay, moving on to a 1937 Atlantis Custom.
Again, and this is just another one of these great reproductions that we have been seeing of some of the, the Art Deco automobiles from the 1930s. This has a lot of work behind it. Got to give credit to the guys at Sensorio Concepts, their design studios in Southern Cal, that are responsible responsible for what you're looking at. The body lines inspired very closely by the 1937 Bugatti 57 SC Atlantic. Again, a car that you would see at Pebble Beach and all of the great concourse.
I see some Delahaye in there too.
You could see that because there's a lot of French DNA in some of these classics from the 1930s. And yeah, this one with a small block V8 and an automatic transmission. And we see that happen too. A lot of these cars don't replicate the drivetrains, but they certainly want to make sure that the body work, the styling, and those big fenders in the line, the drop-down doors are accurate to the original vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah. And this could crack $100,000.
You'd look pretty good in this, CJ, driving through the streets of Hollywood or Beverly Hills, huh?
Chicago Cubs cap on.
Absolutely. I'd be definitely afraid of curbing those fenders, but
yes.
have to park it in lots and not on street side.
We're knocking on the door of $100 grand, perhaps. We're at 95,000.
Yeah, I think the Atlanta Coupe, that Bugatti Atlanta Coupe, I think has probably been responsible for inspiring more either, reproductions or tribute cars over the years, because now they're trading anywhere from $5 to $10 to $12 million.
Wow.
And the only way for the average mortal human to get their hands on anything like it is to have a replica.
Replica, right. And as they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
You bet.
110 is the bid. And it's going to go to the internet at $110,000. Gus Kozar and his man on the line just a little bit shy of the mark. All right, we all know, well, speaking of replicas and imitating classics and incredibly valuable cars, here is a 55 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing replica.
With not a whole lot of Mercedes parts on this. This is one of those ground-up replicas. This was actually featured in Kit Car Builder magazine to help people who wanted to go out and build one of those on their own. Of course, the real ones are bidding into the millions, and right now we're at $120,000 or headed that way, which is, hey, that's a pretty good number for a replica, but still thousands and thousands below what the real cars are trading at.
Yeah, an interesting point about this car is this one was not acquired by Larry necessarily. This car was actually built for him, so he commissioned this build essentially.
Yep. 110 is the bid.
Automatic transmission, independent suspension, AC, things you might expect, and it sells. Yeah.
It did. $110,000. Here's another replica, a really cool car though, a 1938 Talbot Teardrop with Ford power.
Yes, a 5.0 V8 with an automatic transmission. This was built by the TLC Couragiers beginning in 1991, but these Talbots are now being built by another company that took over all of the tooling from TLC, and they are still building them up in my neck of the woods, Worcester, Massachusetts. And of course, this is a tribute to another great classic, the 1938 Talbot Lago. And I got to tell you, it's spelled T-A-L-B-O-T, pronounced Talbot, like it's B-E-R-T, if you can believe that. Talbot Lago, the teardrop coupe, and of course, Fagoni and Falaschi, very well-known coach builders throughout Europe back in the day, and this is replicating one of their designs. Yeah. French Racing Blue. It has power windows and cruise control, something that you're not going to find in any 1938 car.
No.
Yeah, we talk about that with all these replicas, how there's a lot of modern hardware incorporated into them. Even an AM/FM CD sound system.
And $155,000 is the bid.
Tells you how well done this is. Of course, again, real ones right now are trading anywhere between $5 and $8 million.
All right, there it is. The hammer drops at 160. Now to a 1972 Lamborghini Espada.
Oh man, this may be my favorite car at the auction. I'm a huge Marcello Gandini fan. A lot of people don't know him for this car. They know him for the Countach, and they know him for the Miura, and they know him for the Strato Zero. But this car, in my opinion, is one of his greatest designs because it straddles the line between performance and everyday drivability.
Well, you know, it's controversial when you look at it, but this was the best-selling Lamborghini until the Countach. Even though the styling is somewhat out there, people really warmed up to it. This was the fastest four-seater car in the world when it debuted in 1972. And it basically has the same powertrain as the Lamborghini Miura, which is considered the first mid-engine supercar.
Yep, just in a straight line instead of transversed. And, you know, they didn't make a lot of Espadas. They only made just over 1,200 of them in a 10-year run.
Right, 1968 to 78, and that was it.
This one brought $70,000. Next up here in Chicago is an 2003 Delahaye USA Bugnati Boattail Speedster, body designed by Chip Foose.
I love it.
Yeah, and you know what? This is one of the very few replicas that don't replicate a single car. The goal of this car was to replicate a whole category of some of those exotics that were built back in the 1930s, as we've been seeing. So it has a little bit of this and a little bit of that from all of those great cars with the pontoon fenders and the long hood, short deck. It's got the enclosed fairings on the wheels, and so many collaborations were involved in the building of this. Hot rod shops, restoration shops, engine builders, things like that. And it's got an LS1 for power. So
that's what I was going to say. That's a little bit of that. That is the reliability of an LS1 V8.
Yep.
350 horse and an automatic transmission.
And look at the money, $180,000.
Car's breathtaking. No taking that away from it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's got that appearance of it floating on the pavement
right.
when it's driving, because you can't see any of the tire underneath that beautiful bulbous fender.
You guys never did one of these on overhauling, did you?
I don't think you would need it. I think it would take a lot longer than a week.
Yes, exactly. $180,000. Let's check in with Chris Jacobs.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Here in the muscle room with a trio of cars that will be crossing the block a little bit later today, starting with my buddy Rutledge Wood's favorite auction item. This is a 1972 AMC Gremlin X. This is a Levi edition, meaning it's got some denim in the inserts in the interior of the car. This one's powered by a 304 with a manual transmission, Krager SS's at all four corners. And right next to it is a very unique car as well. It is a 1972 Chevy Vega GT. And what makes this car special? Well, the inline four was actually built by the legendary Smokey Yunick. This one is powered by an automatic transmission backing up that inline four. And finally, one of my favorite cars in this room is a 1969 Dart Swinger concept car. This was built as a kind of what-if car in 1969 to feature the new Dart Swinger model. It was built by the Alexander brothers out of Detroit. And this is a homecoming of sorts for this car because it made its debut at the 1969 Chicago Auto Show. Stick around. We got a whole lot more coming from Larry's Legacy right here in Chicago. Welcome back to Chicago, everybody, as we feature Larry's Legacy here at the Klairmont Kollection Automotive Museum. And check out this lineup of Cadillacs, starting with this 59. This is a Broadmoor Skyview limousine. This was ordered by the Broadmoor Resort in Colorado to shuttle its guests to and from the airport. This is one of only 6 that were created, so ultra rare and also ultra huge. Check out the 4 rows of passenger seating in there. And just to give you a little comparison to how long this vehicle is, a modern day Escalade is actually 2 feet shorter than this amazing Broadmoor Skyview. Now, same year but different style car is this Biarritz convertible right here, and the genius of Harley Earl is on full display. Beautifully done up in the desert rose exterior over white. What just an amazing car this is, and of course these fins and those iconic Cadillac taillights. Oh, just so cool. And then finally, this 1958 Cadillac Brougham right here, black with this stainless steel top, and that's really the feature of this vehicle right here. These are handmade, low production. In fact, legend has it that 1 out of 3 of these tops were discarded because they were so difficult to produce and they had to be perfect. This one is powered by a 365, the other 2 Cadillacs powered by a 390, and they are all coming across the auction block very soon. Scott, back to you.
Thanks, Chris. And now, one of the most interesting cars in this entire collection, in my estimation. You guys are going to take it from here, but it is a Czech build, 1947 Tatra T87. What?
Never seen one of these in person before, so I'm glad I'm here to witness it.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of history here. This car was designed by a guy by the name of Hans Ledwinka. He was the head designer at Tatra, and he was considered a genius. He was responsible for the air-cooled rear engine in this automobile in a magnesium alloy V8. Nobody was building magnesium engines back in the 1940s, and he did. This one has quite a bit of power. He put independent suspension in cars like this, had the swing axles. But the thing I love about this, and maybe you can kind of pick it up, this body shape influenced Ferdinand Porsche when he built the Volkswagen. And if you're ready for this, do you know that Tatra went to court against Volkswagen and won and got a settlement?
No.
Because they felt, yes, that the Volkswagen Bug had kind of poached the style of the Tatra enough to a point that the court awarded a settlement to the people of Tatra. Isn't that wild?
What a great story that is. And look at the bidding on this. We are at $200,000. Megan on the internet has multiple bidders online with her looking at this car and very interested in this incredibly rare offering.
We never see them.
No.
You know, we hear the term unicorn, we're looking at a unicorn.
And the unicorn just hammered for $200,000 on the sale of that Tatra. Wow.
Well, you know, we shouldn't be too surprised because we never see them, so we don't know what the market is on these.
Well, now we have a better idea, right?
We got a benchmark now.
Well, guys, one of many customs as we've seen here at the Larry's Legacy collection. And look at the money on this 1969 Joe Balon barbershop car.
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons why the bidding is so high, obviously for the custom, but obviously because of Joe Balon's name. He's the inventor of candy apple paint back in the 1950s. Very well-respected customizer, and was responsible for a lot of very radical custom show cars, like you can see right here. Obviously one of a kind, and it has been very well preserved as well. And if anybody is into collecting full custom cars from that time period, this would make a very worthwhile addition to their collection. Wow.
And how about those custom touches too? I mean, they're calling it the barbershop custom because those are actual barber chairs and 2 authentic barber poles just outside of the passenger and driver compartment. That is really cool. Red velvet interior. Man, this is definitely getting the eyeballs.
The bid at 107.5. Russ Conklin, our auctioneer, is asking for 110.
Another barber touch that you can't see from that front shot is a porcelain barber sink mounted in the rear as well. So full service, Scott.
You know what? I think you can actually get your haircut in motion. There's room for a couple of more people in there. Some of the other little tidbits on this car, guys, it's equipped with a small block V8, Edelbrock intake, and dual Edelbrock carbs, Bill. So it'll get up and go just a little bit, don't you think?
If you're brave enough. I don't know how it would handle, but yeah, it's got enough power. A short wheelbase and kind of a weird steering setup. I got to meet Joe Bale on any number of occasions, and I am somewhat stunned at the bidding.
Look at this
on this car.
We're at $120,000. I would say make sure you stow your scissors if you mash the throttle on this car.
And you know, if you do get your haircut in motion, each cut comes with a free blow dry.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but I don't think it's street legal. So
oh, I see. Okay.
That one might have to stay in the garage.
Well, we'll risk it. We'll take it out there anyway.
120 is the bid still, and now $130,000.
This one's doing the slow burn. This has been up on the block for quite a while. It just keeps creeping up. There's obviously two guys in the audience, or perhaps on the phone, who just have to have this custom creation.
You know, and that brings up a great point. Many times we say, well, what's a car like this worth? It's worth whatever somebody on any given day is willing to pay, and we're seeing that here in Chicago.
You know, it reminds me of what happened with the Rapid Transit Cuda, Chuck Thompson's car. Remember that?
Yeah.
What that sold for?
I don't remember the number.
$2 million.
$2 million.
Yes.
Yep. That was a great moment.
Nobody anticipated that.
That was Indy last year, was that, Bill?
That was Indy, was it last
Indy
year or the year
spring,
before?
yeah.
Was it last year? Yeah. Chuck looked great, too. He was there. He was schmoozing with people and signing autographs.
They're not finished yet. The gentleman there with Travis Delzell. Oh, he just put in another bid at $145,000.
$5,000 increments now on
yes.
these bids.
Who is going to say uncle first?
This is becoming the auctioneer's dream, where two guys just have to have it. It's mano a mano.
Let's see if Travis's guy comes back. Oh dear. Wow. Is that the knockout punch?
Are you that? 160, 170. I know, right? You're 170, 160, 170. What's he say, Paul? Are you that? Appreciate it, sir. Thank you for your bid. Good bidder.
And then there was one. That barbershop custom built by Joe Balon just sold for $160,000. Well, here at the Klairmont Museum, there are 9 different exhibit rooms. One of those rooms is called the Rickenbacker room for very good reason. And we begin a trio of legendary Rickenbacker cars here, guys, with a 1926 Rickenbacker 8 Super Sport.
This is a great car from the Rickenbacker collection, no two ways about it. This is one of 17 that were built, and only one is reported to be left. Of course, Eddie Rickenbacker, millions of books have been written about him. A World War I ace, 26 victories in the air, Medal of Honor winner. Of course, his Hat in the Ring Squadron, one of the most legendary World War I groups of all time. And this car, well, this is a reflection of just what a brilliant man Rickenbacker was with some of the engineering in it. This car has a 315 cubic inch, 105 horsepower straight 8, which would make this car one of the fastest cars of the day back in 1926. This car has 4-wheel brakes, again, something you did not see in every automobile back then. 2 flywheels that contributes to the smoothness of the engine in this car, and the crankshaft and camshaft fully immersed in oil, helping once again to create the smoothness of that engine. Unfortunately for Eddie Rickenbacker and his company, they only built cars between 1922 and 1927, but they ran head-on into Duesenberg that was getting into full production that time.
Yep.
And all the other premium brands, and they were kind of playing from behind, but not because of the quality or the integrity that went into these cars. This car, like I say, this is a great car.
All of that copper trim too, Chris. I mean, wood bumpers, copper trim around those. You see the wheels and some of the extra gingerbread on this car.
Yeah, amazing materials used and the details that went into these Rickenbackers. And, you know, Bill, you made the point that they were only in business from 22 to 27, and, you know, the production was slowed because Eddie Rickenbacker's partner passed away, Walter Mosley. But, however, they did wind up making 27,000 cars. So in that run, they did produce a lot of cars, but this one, as you said, very rare, only one of 17 produced.
Yeah, and the other thing that really hurt them, Chris, was how much they were in terms of their retail price. These were $10,000 cars in 1926, and in today's money, that's over $183,000.
We're well over that right now at $300,000 for this 26 Rickenbacker. I will tell you that a Rickenbacker 8, you mentioned Duesenberg a little while ago, a Rickenbacker 8 paced the Indy 500 in 1925, the year before this car. In that race, Pete DiPaolo won in a Duesenberg and became the first driver to eclipse 100 miles an hour for the average speed for 500 miles. So there's a little bit of that Duesenberg-Rickenbacker relationship.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I might have misspoke too. I called it Walter Mosley. It was actually Walter Flanders, who is Rickenbacker's partner, who sadly passed away in an automobile accident, ironically, in 1923.
Look at that, $400,000. What an amazing car.
I told you, it's a great car.
My goodness. Okay, 1937, Rolls-Royce this time around. This is a Phantom 3 Aero Coupe. Wow.
Yeah, that is a wow. That's an oh wow right there. That bodywork did not leave the Rolls-Royce factory back in 1937. That was done by Class Oak Auto Rebuilding Service right here in Chicago. But boy, what a job they did. Look at the lines and the profile, those big, wide fenders and the big posing radiator shell. And why not a 7.3-liter V12 with 165 horsepower. And this is one of those engines that helped to popularize aluminum construction back then in some of the engines that were built. This has aluminum cylinder heads, 4-speed transmission. The color is indigo purple with a Lalique crystal kneeling nude radiator mascot.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I know. I wasn't sure I should even say that, but yes. Just little things like that add up to a one-of-a-kind car. This, by the way, was the last engine in this 1937 Phantom 3 that was designed by Henry Royce, of course, from Rolls-Royce. Pebble Beach Concours winner, as you can see, and to win anything at Pebble Beach, as we all know,
Oh, sure.
you had that is, you can't beat that on any automobile's resume.
225 is the bid here. This Rolls Royce was actually parked in between the Rickenbacker that we just saw and the next car that we're going to see here in the museum for many years. You could I guess you could call it the high dollar room as well, right?
They needed to rename that room. They could use that, absolutely.
Wow, side-mounted spares, and look at that roof line, that waterfall roof line that goes down to the back of the car.
Crazy.
We're talking 1937 here, folks.
Yep.
This is just a breakthrough automotive design you're looking at.
Of course, these cars were being made and delivered right before World War II took place. And although this car went out of production in 1939, the last example wasn't delivered to its buyer until 1947. And that was largely due to the ravages of World War II and the delays in fulfilling the orders that the customers made before and at the beginning of World War II.
Oh, absolutely. We didn't get into the war till 41, but remember, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland, and things were already on full boil over in Europe by the time we got into it.
$320,000. That's your hammer price on that Rolls. And if the Rickenbacker and the Rolls aren't enough, look at this. 1933 Rolls-Royce Phantom II. You cannot make this up. It's a Honduras mahogany boat tail skiff bodywork that was done by W.B. Carter Coachwork. Oh,
very, very rare. Oh my God. Yeah, that company famous for building boats, and they spread their business out into building cars like this, putting the boat-style bodywork on anything. Rolls-Royce, Duesenberg, you just bring them the platform, and they did the rest. 3,000 hours went into this build. That's about 4 months, just the body of it. And this was brought to the United States, by the way, by James Leake. If you're not familiar with his name, probably the preeminent Rolls-Royce collector. He lived in Oklahoma, served as chairman of the International Automobile Hall of Fame, but Rolls-Royces, they were his first love. He passed away about 24 years ago, but this is a car that he brought to this country.
And how about this for craftsmanship? This car is put together with dowel and peg joinery throughout.
Yes.
That's just, I mean, I would love to go back into the shop where this car was created and watch these craftsmen hammering the parts of this car together with dowels and pegs.
Oh yeah, no electric drills. Everything was hand fitted.
$175,000, your hammer price on that car, and I was able to spend a little bit of time with it yesterday, and I mean, it looks and feels like it was put together last week. The craftsmanship, as you mentioned, is so high end. Let's check in with Chris Jacobs.
Thanks a lot, Scott. One of the coolest sections of Larry's legacy are his TV and movie cars, and this one is one of the more sinister ones in the collection. Unbelievable recreation of the 1989 version of the Batmobile that was seen in the 1989 film Batman. And what a cool and sinister recreation it is. It's got all the bells and whistles of the modern Batmobile. This is riding on a tube chassis, and it's got the running gear from a 1989 Corvette powering it. What a very cool looking car, all in matte black. And hey, if you want to take it out on the street, you're in luck because it is street legal. Now, if you're more of a purist, Larry also has the original Batmobile that's been recreated for his collection as well. This is from the 1966 television version of Batman. It was created by George Barris, originally based on a 1955 Lincoln Futura. And this is giving me all the feels because I used to be a big fan of the original Batman show. So a lot of nostalgia involved in this car. Super cool. This one powered by a Ford Big Block. So if you want to play out your original Batman fantasy, grab your favorite Robin and hit the streets. We got a lot more from Chicago coming up on the other side of this break.
Welcome back to Larry's Legacy here in Chicago, along with Bill Stevens and Chris Jacobs. I'm Scott Hoke. You know, Larry Klairmont poured so much love into this collection, but he didn't do it alone. In fact, Joyce Oberlander was Larry's fiance at the time of his passing, and she is actually the co-founder of this collection. And Joyce is the one who really suggested that these cars and the road art be housed in this building. And she, of course, is here with us cheering on the bidders, as you can see, as everything in this collection is finding a new home. And one of the most famous movie cars ever is that DeLorean DMC 12, and this is an 82 that has been set up to replicate the one that was from Back to the Future.
We've seen the prices for these accurate reproductions of the Back to the Future DeLorean, and we're already close to $50,000 on this for an opening bid. When they're done this well, they have an audience. Of course, we know the story about John DeLorean, his star-crossed career as an automobile builder. But this is the car that actually kind of gave John DeLorean a different image altogether because of the success of those movies where these cars were the co-star with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Rebuilt 2.8-liter V6, which they all had, not all rebuilt, but they started with a Renault 2.8 V6 and a 5-speed manual, and we're at $90,000.
That's interesting, Bill. You mentioned that, you know, John DeLorean had a bit of a renaissance when these movies came out as far as his place in the pantheon of automotive goes. And a lot of people only know DeLorean from this car, but if you don't know his previous history, you should really do a deep dive on him because he is one of the pioneers of American automotive.
Oh, that is an understatement, Mr. Jacobs. Grand Delusions by Hillel Levin is a great book that traces the whole history of John DeLorean from his very early days. He was the chief engineer at Pontiac. We know about the GTO and the Grand Prix, but boy, when he left GM and embarked on building his own car, so many stars had to align, and unfortunately for him, they didn't align for very long.
115, 120.
And how about that? Multiple bidders online with Katie there and a $115,000 hammer price on that DeLorean.
Yeah, that's what I said. The nice ones, 6 figures like that.
Yep. You know, I did not know this until today, but it is National Batman Day.
Today?
Today.
Oh,
it really
fantastic.
is.
How appropriate.
On the day that we're bringing you this auction, we have not one but 2 Batmobile replicas, and this one from 1989.
Yep, the 1989 Batman movie starred this car, and appropriately enough, it's got a 1989 Corvette drivetrain in it.
Nice.
The 5.7-liter V8, 245 horsepower. Oh, but they deviated a little bit with this one when they decided to build it. They put in a few extra little goodies, like power seats and a tilt wheel, and the canopy is remote controlled, air ride suspension, things like that. Casey Pooch is the designer, engineer, and philanthropist, a guy who is responsible for the commission of this car, and he's the CEO of Genius Garage Educational Programs. Quite a very varied and impressive background on the gentleman who built this, and he's a racer too. Raced Formula Atlantic and vintage racing, and has done some seat time and some prototypes. And yeah, this one deviates dramatically from the original Batmobile. And of course, you've heard me say this. I mean, I'm not breaking any new ground. I think the original Batmobile is the Batmobile, but you know, and Hollywood is trying to come up with something a little more dramatic or a little bit different. This is what they come up with.
And $150,000 later, that has found a new home.
Wow.
Speaking of the original, the next vehicle replicates that very first Batmobile, and it's built to the specs from 1966. And this is one that I know our friend and former colleague John Klairmont would have been head over heels for, because we've told the story before. He saw the original Batmobile before it was the Batmobile.
Right, I believe. Did he see it at the Barris shop?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
I remember him telling me that.
Yep.
Well, yes, George Barris was the father of the original Batmobile, like so many other custom cars. This one, I'll tell you how exacting a replica this is. It took 8 years and $175,000 to build this replica.
Look at the numbers here, Bill and Chris. $200,000 for this.
Dear.
And we may not be fitting. Well, there we are. The hammer drops courtesy of Russ Conklin, and 200 grand.
Well, much like the time machine from Back to the Future, when they're done well and done faithfully to the original source, in this case, the Batman series, you get the numbers.
JK and I would be walking through the staging area at a Mecum auction, and he'd go by the Corvettes and the Mustangs and the Hemis, but if he saw the Batmobile, he would screech to a stop.
Well, we've all seen 1959 Cadillacs, but we've never seen one quite like this one. It is the Broadmoor Skyview limousine. You want to take 11 of your friends with you on a trip somewhere or just down the street? Here's your car.
This is the sister car to the Wagon Queen family truckster, I think. This was built for the folks out at the Broadmoor Resort Hotel in Colorado Springs, basically to take people for sightseeing. You see the big panoramic sunroof for sightseeing, and it goes the whole length of the roof there. By the way, this will win the award for the longest vehicle in the collection. It's 21 feet long with a 13-foot wheelbase. And it's a Superior Coach. Now, that's a company that folks that are familiar with ambulances or rescue vehicles would know. They've been building those kinds of things for a long time, and they built this 12-passenger sightseeing limousine for the folks at Broadmoor. Powertrain, nothing special, a 390 cubic inch V8, and in fact, that engine debuted in '59 in the Caddy, and only 6 of these were built, so it's pretty exclusive.
And on the tail fin, you can see the badging. It says Broadmoor Skyview.
Yes.
The 4-row seating, too. And look at the bidding at $160,000.
Yep, they call themselves the best luxury resort. And, well, if you love Cadillacs, you're certainly not going to argue with that.
Well, much like those Yellowstone buses that we saw going for high dollar and high restoration shape.
Big
this
white,
one right here.
Yeah, the White Motor
whites.
Company
Yep.
coaches. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Big money for that 59 Caddy. Well, here's another one. This is an Eldorado Baritz. One of only 1,300 and change built for 1959.
Yeah, 1,320. That's how many feet in a quarter mile. That's why it's easy for me to remember that. But yeah, these were technological milestones. These Eldorado Baritzes, top of the line Caddy. This was the one that you bought if you had unlimited resources. The one everybody wanted to be seen in. The 390 V8. This one with the tri-power 3 2-barrel carbs, 345 horsepower, and I mean power. Everything. Harley Earl announced his retirement in 1959, and so this car, one of the last ones that he had his fingerprints on before he was replaced by Chuck Jordan, another great designer that came.
Look at the money on this car, guys. 225 grand. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what, the audience here at Mecum, Larry's Legacy, knows what they're looking at too, because this car was getting so much attention out on the floor. That gorgeous desert rose exterior over white, and what beats a 59 Cadillac convertible? Amazing. And Bill, you mentioned Harley Earl's retirement. He retired because he had to. It was a mandatory retirement age. If he hadn't had to retire, he would have gone on for many, many more years.
Yeah, that's true. It's Zora Arkus Duntov and so many other great designers and engineers who came through General Motors. That was their mandatory policy. But these cars here, I'll tell you, this is 1959, and this had air adjustable suspension. Okay, we're talking about a car built in 1959. This car had cruise control, and very few cars had that back in the day. It was crude, it was cable operated, it was not electronic, but still, these broke new ground in automotive engineering.
No doubt about it. We're at a quarter, and now we were at a $250,000, now $260,000. You saw the Mecum Chief Operating Officer Sam Murtaugh had a man in the hunt for this car, but he has since bowed out. And we await the final number on this Eldorado Barritz. My goodness.
And one of the features also is that Autotronic Eye automatic headlight dimmer that actually was developed in 1953, and one of the great features of this 1959 Cadillac.
$260,000 just bought one of the most legendary Cadillacs of all time. On the Larry's Legacy block now, 1958 Cadillac Eldorado Brougham. Super rare, only one of 304 Eldorado Broughams built.
Yeah, another very exclusive Cadillac, and again, this is the year before the car we just saw, and so this was the top of the food chain for Cadillac. This was America's most expensive car. Let me give you a couple of numbers here. Back in 1958, this car stickered for $13,074, okay? In 2025 money, that is $150,303, if you can possibly feature that. Right? And you know what? Cadillac lost $10,000 on every one they built. And that's the problem with building an exclusive car in that number, 304. Just impossible to make a profit on that. This car had that air suspension that we saw in the 1959 Cadillac a few minutes ago. And these cars, again, adding to their expense during the manufacturing process, all hand-built, not built on an assembly line with people just bolting and screwing parts onto it. Just an unbelievable car for 1958. Electric fuel pumps in these cars. They had memory power seats. What? 1958?
Oh, I'd forgotten about those.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I see what you did there.
And of course, that brushed stainless steel roof, probably the most distinctive styling touch on it.
I was going to say, Bill, you're exactly right. $95,000, and it goes to the internet. Chris, I saw this car the other day and paid particular attention to that roof. The stainless is immaculate still.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Look what happens to DeLoreans. One little fingerprint, right? And you got to scrub it off.
Coming up next, more show-stopping vehicles from Larry's Legacy.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm still hanging out in the muscle room, and this is one of my absolutely favorite cars, not just in this auction, but in all of the automotive world. It checks so many boxes for me. 1970 Dodge Super B, plum crazy. V-code 440 with the 6-pack under the hood, backed up by a pistol grip 4-speed manual transmission. You're seeing the color matched wheels there with the poverty caps featuring the frat zog right in the center. Oh man, is this a gorgeous, gorgeous car. And it's gonna be going home with some lucky new owner because it is selling, as all the cars are here in Larry's Legacy, at no reserve. Scott? Whew, man, if you need me, I'll be standing right next to this Super B.
Thanks, Chris. Let's get back to the block. A terrific car, a 69 Mach 1, unrestored condition, guys.
Yeah, how can you not love an original unrestored, numbers matching, 351 Cleveland powered 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1. And the VIN tells us this is the 4-barrel version. It's an M, and it's got 290 horsepower. FMX automatic transmission. This one has a couple of options, too. It's air-conditioned factory air and front disc brakes as well. And non-shaker hood car as well. Did I say Cleveland?
I think you said Cleveland.
I said, let's not go to Cleveland right now. Let's go
Take it north of the border.
We're going to Windsor, Ontario instead. But yeah, and the condition of this car, as we've mentioned, is unrestored, but very well presented and preserved, by the way.
Yeah, it's all about that originality, as we like to say in the collector car industry. It's only original once, or as Bill's brother-in-law likes to say, it's only original twice.
Thank you.
But yeah, well, phenomenal example of a classic automobile right here. Love, love, love the 69. Probably my favorite year of the Mustang.
Well, it was the first year for the Mach 1, and it was a sensation. It was a bombshell in the marketplace. You had a multitude of engines to choose from. 351 Windsor Cleveland. You get the 428 Cobra Jet, the S-Code 390 also available.
Right.
But not the 302. That was exclusive to the Boss 302 in '69. And the other thing is interesting is that you could only get a Mach 1 in the fastback, no formal roofline Mach 1s. So this was sporty all the way. This one does not have the sport slats on the rear window. That's kind of an acquired taste. Some people did not prefer that.
You know, I think that fastback is part of, as we see, this car just sold for $77,000. That fastback was back in the day part of the allure, and certainly is even today.
Yep, and they pretty much stayed with that design in the 1970s.
All right, here we go next with a one-of-one 68 Olds 442.
Yeah, and the reason is because this is a show car, and it was a show car that debuted right here in Chicago, the Chicago Auto Show, which, by the way, has been going on since 1901. Well, Chris can tell us about the Chicago Auto Show. He's a homie. But this car has a fade paint job. And a one-off paint job at that, and a completely restitched and redesigned interior as well. Nothing out of the ordinary powertrain-wise. The 400 cube V8 in it with 350 horsepower. But you know what? Back in the 60s, this is the kind of thing that the builders were doing to attract attention at the car shows.
Yeah, done up in Camaro white with that fire frost gold stripes. And Bill, you mentioned the 1969 Chicago Auto Show. This isn't the only car that made its debut at that 69 Chicago Auto Show. We've got another lot coming up in just a little bit that also made its debut at that very same show. So appropriate that they're both here, part of the Klairmont Kollection and Larry's legacy.
And it hammers for $70,000. All right, we move on. 1968 Olds 442 convertible. This is a one-of-one, Bill Stevens.
And rightly so. Look at the paint job on this, a custom paint job that took hours to do. A car that was destined for the Chicago Auto Show, this 442. Now, under the hood, nothing special, the 350 horse, 400 cubic inch V8. But the interior and the exterior, just a completely wild treatment on this automobile. The Chicago Auto Show, long running here, considered the largest in the country. And back in 1968, a lot of the builders and the customizers, even the manufacturers would debut these special cars at that event.
This 442 just brought 40,000 at no reserve. And of course, again, these cars all selling at no reserve. Okay, on the block right now, if you happen to catch the preview show, you guys had quite a time briefly with this 79 AMC Pacer wagon.
Yeah, we did. I remember when these cars came out. This is one of those cars where the first time you look at it, you're kind of like the dog looking at a stereo speaker, tilting your head, like, wait a minute, what am I looking at here? But you know what? This was at a time when the manufacturers were getting a little bit funky. They were getting a little creative because horsepower was hard to find, and they needed something to get people into the showroom. So why not an economy car like this? Little six-cylinder engine, 258 cubes. This with an automatic transmission. And they had several different packages that were basically decal packages and exterior trim packages. Not much in the way of powertrain choices. But these cars have found an audience. Look at the bidding on this, guys.
Yeah, well, shout out to Dick Teague, who designed pretty much all of AMC's classic models. And you don't see one of these with this low mileage, especially. Really incredible how well preserved this Pacer DL wagon is.
Yeah, under 11,000 miles, they're telling us.
Yes.
And quite affordable here. And actually, the car that was parked right next to this here at the Klairmont Museum is the one on the block right now, and it's a 72 AMC Gremlin X with that Levi's denim interior.
Yeah, and Rutledge Wood, who I'm sure is watching right now, was not able to join us at this auction. He was obsessed with this car when we were previewing Larry's Legacy. He wouldn't get out of the car for about 90 minutes or so. He and his jeans had a interior meld. Yeah, that Levi's edition, there are those denim inserts on the interior. Got the Krager SS's at all four wheels, that 304 V8 under the hood, 4-speed manual, green over blue. Just so much cool stuff about this Gremlin.
So what you're saying is Rutledge had a diaper fire when he saw it.
Pretty much. Needed a change.
All right, no collection. I don't care who you are. No collection would be complete without a 1963 Corvette split window coupe. Here's one, Bill, and we are already seeing some heavy bidding, $50,000, $60,000.
Up it goes. This is not a fuel-injected car. This has got the second lowest horsepower you could get in the 63 Corvette. This is the 300 horse 327 up from the 250 horse. And the original MSRP on this car, I like to point this out, was about $4,000. And back in the day, nobody could have predicted the desirability and the collectability of these cars. This has got the saddle-on-saddle color scheme, which was a popular choice for people. And we'll watch the bidding. We're already up at $120,000. And again, non-fuely car, not a high horsepower Corvette at all.
As we say many times when these split windows come across the block, it's one of the rare times where the hardtop is worth more than the convertible.
Indeed, and it sold for $120,000 here in Chicago. 1970 Dodge Super B up on the block.
Be still my heart. Oh man, as I said in my preview, this one pretty much checks every single box for me. 1970, which I'm partial to, myself being a 1970 model.
Yes.
Plum crazy purple, that beautiful color match wheels with the poverty caps, frat zog in the center. That setup is just amazing. Backed up by the pistol grip 4-speed transmission. This is a V-code 440, meaning it's got the 3 2-barrel carb setup on it. This car is beautifully, beautifully restored, and the price is reflecting that, Scott.
Yeah, this is a track pack car too, which really adds to the collectability. And that means it's got the Dana 60 rear end, the upgraded suspension, heavy-duty cooling, power brakes, performance tires on here, and this has had a restoration involving at least 5 different shops in different parts of the world that worked on this car. I mean, Magnum Auto Restorations, Muscle Car Restorations, Opel Engineering did the engine rebuild on this. Pass-on performance, the Pass-on Performance folks, because Jamie Pass-on is the owner of that company, and everybody calls it Jamie Pass-on Performance, but it's P-A-S-S-O-N, Jamie Pass-on, and look at that, $160,000. Is that the hammer?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Larry's Legacy continues in just a moment with more must-see machines. Stay with us. Welcome back to highlights of our coverage of Larry's Legacy from the Larry Klairmont Museum Collection in Chicago. Here is a concept car for us now, 1969 Dodge Dart Swinger, and if this name rings a bell, it should. This car formerly in the Stephen Giuliano collection, and that puts it at another level.
Yeah, he's an old friend of mine, passed away a while back, but before his death, probably one of the most respected Mopar car collectors in the entire country. Remember the display we had in Indianapolis a while back with all the cars and memorabilia, and this is one of those concept cars that takes you back to the rapid transit campaign that Chrysler was running back then with a lot of their high-performance cars. The Alexander brothers, Larry and Mike, were responsible for the restyle on this car. The Alexander brothers, of course, out of Detroit. This was a 344-barrel, 275 horse, and this one with a 4-speed as well. This debuted, Chris, 1969 Chicago Auto Show.
Yeah, that's the other car that I was talking about that made its debut at that very show in 1969. And, you know, it was categorized as what if, you know, what could be if Detroit wanted to go as far as the Alexander brothers did with this car.
Right.
It was a little bit more toned down upon production. I think the most noticeable difference were the squared out headlights that the Alexanders put in there. They were, of course, round on the production vehicle, but stellar car here. I'm surprised, actually, that the bidding isn't higher on this concept one-of-a-kind vehicle.
Yeah, sitting on 48 grand at the moment, and we see Gus Kozar up there with a telephone, and Alex McLaughlin in front helping out. We're at 55 now.
Top has been chopped. The front has been extended 5 inches, so it's done so well that it doesn't really jump out at you when you look at the car. But it has had some sheet metal modifications. You mentioned the headlights. Those are European CBA headlights, which back in the day you'd see on rally cars and high-performance cars, endurance cars that raced at night. So very tasty package.
All right, so that one finds a new owner.
10, 20, 10.
All right, here is one with a little bit of racing provenance, if you will. It's a 72 Vega, but does the name Smokey Eunuch ring a bell?
Oh, yeah. Henry Smokey Eunuch, the best damn garage in town, is what his little shop was called. And he was one of those rebels. He was one of those iconoclasts. When it came to building cars, he did not want to do it the way everyone else did. So he took the 72 Chevy Vega, which basically had no performance pretensions. They did have a Cosworth Vega, but even that wasn't hot enough for Smokey. So what he did, he took the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder that came with the car, which was rated at a paltry 90 horsepower, threw a turbo on it, a Switzer turbo, and a Rochester carburetor, and came up with about 110 to 120 horsepower. And you want to find another one, good luck, because I tell you, they are very rare automobiles.
10, 15. 15,000, you're going to get 10 bid, you're going to get 17, 17.
And that one, too, has found new ownership here from Larry's legacy. This is an absolutely beautiful vehicle. 1934 LaSalle, Series 350 convertible coupe.
Oh, Scott, this epitomizes Art Deco.
Big time.
Take a look. The shape of that body and some of the exterior accoutrements. Now, this has a special chassis on it. One of the reasons when you look at this car, it just doesn't look like other cars from that time period. The way it sits has what's called a low-slung chassis with independent front suspension. It sits much lower than a lot of cars from that time. And the LaSalle, of course, was considered the entry-level Cadillac. And Harley Earl came to General Motors in 1927. That was his first project, to work on the LaSalle. This one shares parts with Oldsmobile and Buick. And Scott, you'll appreciate this. A 1934 LaSalle Series 350 convertible coupe paced the 1934 Indianapolis 500.
Very good. Grasshopper.
Grasshopper.
And look at the money here, guys. Again, just astonishing. At no reserve, $150,000.
I'll bet you don't remember who won the 1934 Indianapolis 500.
Oh no, but I'm going to look it up real quick.
Well, you know what?
You've already saved me the trouble.
You know, yes, I do. But I'm so impressed with the fact that you know so many winners off the top of your head. You know, going back to 1934. So, you know. And the answer is?
I don't know.
Oh, you didn't find it? Oh,
That's an odd name for a driver.
I did not go back that far.
it was Bill Cummings.
Okay.
And it was one of the closest finishes in a long time. So, that's it.
Oh, what a terrific car that was.
Oh, man.
Fabulous.
I'll tell you an interesting piece of Cadillac history on their assembly line. 1934 was the introduction of the Phillips screwdriver and screw. Cadillac was the first one to use it, and that made their production a lot more efficient, able to get more cars off the line more quickly.
Yep, and the first year for hydraulic brake fittings on their brake system as well. So they were thinking way ahead of everybody.
Next, we have a 1926 Hispano Suiza H6B Torpedo.
Now, this was considered a sports car. This is what people that wanted real rakish automobiles would go shopping for, although they were expensive. The Hispano Suiza, built in France. A lot of aircraft technology went into these cars. Very lightweight, one of the most powerful and sophisticated automobiles that you can buy. 6.5-liter inline six, 135 horsepower. This was a car that could get you close to 100 miles an hour. And back in the 1920s and 30s, if a car could go 100 miles an hour, it was considered a premium performance automobile.
Yes, sir.
Power assisted, can you believe it? Power assisted four-wheel brakes in 1926. And some famous owners that own some of these Hispano Suizas. Pablo Picasso. I hope he didn't paint this.
Well, actually, that brings me to the next point about this car. Chris, one of only two of these known to exist. It looks like a matte finish if you're looking at it, from distance, but that's actually a fabric bodywork. It's vinyl all the way around except on the lower hood panels.
Really interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so if you had an accident, you'd go to a seamstress to have it repaired.
Exactly.
What you had to do. Oh, and another famous bass player besides you is known to own one of these cars.
Oh, really?
Want to guess? One of the most famous bass players in rock and roll history?
John Edwards.
Oh, John Entwistle?
Oh, you're going way too esoteric. Paul McCartney.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. This is from 2002. It's a Lincoln Continental, a concept car, and again, the list of things that went into this build is almost a mile long.
Exactly. Concept car, not meant to go into full production. Manufacturers built these cars, took them out to car shows, wanted to gauge public reaction, which would determine whether or not they would consider going into production with them. In 2002, Lincoln was kind of looking for a new image. That was a company that had kind of staked its claim on full-bore luxury. And, back in 2002, the marketplace was telling it, hey, you know what, we want things that are a little bit more practical. And so this is the car that they came up with. Of course, it's got a V12 from Aston Martin, which was owned by Ford at the time. So it didn't have to go very far to get the power plant. And this appeared at the 2002 LA Auto Show. The color is called Sea Spray Silver. It's got leather inside, a full-length center console, suicide doors, some power accessories. Even comes with a 5-piece metal luggage set, just to try to attract people. And the gentleman who was the head of Ford Design, the vice president of Ford at the time, was Jay Mays, a name I think we all are familiar with, so many of the great cars that he was responsible for. And this was a campaign that he called Retro Futurism, a car that had retro vibes and yet kind of gave Lincoln a direction into the future. So it kind of combined both genres. And it's kind of cool. It's selling at over $100,000.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, had a lot of ideas introduced in this 2002 concept that we saw later on in other manufacturers' jobs, in particular that length of the entire car dash that has now shown up in all the Mercedes-Benzes and BMWs that is present inside this 2002 Lincoln concept.
So a 6-figure Continental concept here at the Larry's Legacy. Welcome back to Chicago and highlights from Larry's Legacy. It is not an understatement to say that this is the most anticipated and most well-known of all of the 275 or so cars at Larry's Legacy. It's a legendary vehicle. It's the Golden Sahara II, and it's on the block right now.
And just a deep compelling history behind this car. There's no way we could touch everything in the time that we have. But basically, the start of life is a 53 Lincoln Capri. It was owned by George Barris. The car was wrecked in an accident. A fellow by the name of George Skazonis, I believe. He was called Jim Street. That was his nom de plume. He bought the car, restored it, put it away. People didn't see it for decades. It came out of hiding and needed a full restoration. Larry of Larry's Legacy got a hold of the car, made some changes to it, fully restored it, brought it back to life, and here it is right here. And it's one of a kind. It goes back to the days when all of the great customizers, you can go right down the line, Gene Winfield, of course, the Barrises, Sam and George, Darryl Starbird, the Alexander brothers, they all wanted to outdo each other with these outrageous show cars that would be seen all over the country, and there are very few that could match the visual excitement of the Golden Sahara II, that is for sure.
Yeah, there's a reason this is the cover car for the Larry's Legacy catalog. This is absolutely the crown jewel of the collection. And Scott, look at what they're asking right now, $375. I doubt we're close to the finish.
You may be right, Chris. That bid has been made, $375, and now $400,000.
Illuminated tires, as you can see. A steering yoke instead of a steering wheel. You see the lounge, there's the steering yoke. You see the lounge set up in the back seat, a curved rear seat. It had a very crude self-driving feature in this car that was built back in the 1950s. A television, a tape recorder, and look at this. I mean, just everywhere you look, you see these custom touches that just go way beyond what anyone was doing back then.
The last time we saw this car, Bill, you remember, was I think in Indianapolis in 2018. Larry Klairmont bought the car in unrestored condition from Mecum.
Yes.
And now we see it again just a few years later, and we're at $500,000, guys.
Yeah, no self-respecting custom is without a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Just amazing the custom touches that they chose to put into this car. And it is so visually stunning. Last time I saw this car in person was at the Peterson Auto Museum in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And once again, people were going by just, they couldn't take it all in. There's so many aesthetic touches on this car, it's really hard to process all of them.
Fair weather car, does not have a top. Not that it's a car that you would drive anyway. This is strictly a full custom show car, but I can remember seeing this in Indianapolis, as you mentioned, Scott, and it had gone through quite a bit of deterioration, having sat for decades. I'm hearing like 40 years maybe it sat. Cats had made a home.
That's right.
Inside the car. Wow. And so you can just imagine the kind of aroma was coming from that.
Oh boy.
The wiring harnesses and everything had deteriorated. The electronics pretty much had all been ravaged by Father Time. So just a tremendous project to bring this car back to the level it's at today.
And just so you know, those of you who remember, as we get to $750,000, that is more than double now of what this car sold for in 2018 at Mecum in unrestored condition, in very rough condition at that point.
Very rough condition, you're right.
Right, well, you know, I mean, the characters are never going to get back together again. When Larry acquired this car, George Barris had already passed away. Now
Yes.
Larry has passed away. Jim Street, obviously, is no longer with us, too. So all the players in this car are part of history, and therefore so is this amazing custom.
We're at $800,000, now $850,000. Do we dare say that this could be $1 million sale today? I don't know, but the way we're going, it might be.
There are probably people here who came to this auction specifically to buy the Golden Sahara II.
We're getting the same feeling we had in Florida when the Hirohata Merc went across the stage, another Barris masterpiece. So people want to have a piece of not only Larry's legacy, but also the Barris legacy as well. And there it is, asking $1 million.
Just give $1 million and own it. Give $1 million. $1
The bid is still $875, now $900,000.
$950, I get $925, $950, or just give $1 million, like I said.
Oh,
before.
my
You know we're
goodness.
headed there, you might as well just beat it to the punch. $1 million. Give $1 million, I get $925.
This car was originally presented at the GM Motorama show in Los Angeles in 1954. Later upgraded to its current version, the Golden Sahara II, in 1956.
That car
Oh, wow.
Wow. There it is.
Wow. That car belongs in the Smithsonian. That's the only museum I think is worthy of the Golden Sahara II. And there are great museums everywhere, but that is such a huge chunk of automotive history.
And Bill, we haven't really even talked about or gotten into one of the most amazing aesthetic features on this car, the tires.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I mentioned they were illuminated. Yeah.
Unbelievable that just, for the time, what it took to create those tires and have them work just as well today is really amazing.
I don't think they were in working order in 2018.
No, they were
No.
But now to see them like this is
I believe they
just
recreated
fantastic.
these tires using the same molds that they did as the original tires.
I believe you're right, yes.
This car was on television. I can remember seeing old films of it being on the Gary Moore show. It appeared in a couple of movies. As big a celebrity on four wheels as we've ever seen.
$1,150,000 or $2 million or $1,001,000.
We're at 1.1. David Purvis is on the phone with a bidder there. Alex McLaughlin on the right of your screen helping out.
Yeah, you mentioned its television appearances. I actually watched the video of when it made an appearance on I've Got a Secret, and Jim came walking out with the car, and that essentially was the car's secret, is that it could drive itself.
Yeah, they actually remote control the car out. I remember that, yeah.
Do some math now. $1,150,000. I'm from Nebraska. I got my shoe off now, though. $1,150,000. I get $1,125,000. $1,150,000. $1,150,000. $1,150,000. $1,150,000. I already even get here. $1,150,000. I get $1,125,000. $1,150,000.
And the technology of those tires has been improved a little bit by Goodyear themselves. They helped with the restoration, and they actually are programmable LEDs, which replicate the appearance and the function of the original illuminated neothane show tires.
Yeah, but it brings it into the 21st century.
Exactly.
What is going to be the final number here?
$1,200,000. $1,150,000. Yes or no? $1,200,000. $1,150,000. $1,200,000. I gotta go. $1,150,000 is a bid. $1,200,000. I appreciate.
I think
your
David's man is out.
$1,200,000.
Well, it made a little bit of history at Mecum in 2018, and it makes history again in 2025. $1.15 million for the Golden Sahara II. And chalk that up to a Larry's Legacy Mecum moment. Well, that's going to wrap things up for us, and it has been such a treat and a pleasure for all of us to be here to see these Klairmont Kollection cars together for the final time and to document the automobiles as they move on to their respective new caretakers. I want to say a very special thanks to our executive producer, Ben Christoffel, and our producer for this program, Zach Rutledge. And for Bill Stevens and Chris Jacobs, along with our entire crew, I'm Scott Hope. We thank you for watching Larry's Legacy. So long from Chicago.